Welcome to the Nathan Nephew Show. I'm your host, Nathan Nephew. I thank you for tuning in once again right here on Red State Talk Radio or possibly nathannephew.com, wherever you are. I want to thank everybody for the feedback, too, that I've been getting. Talk at nathannephew.com. You can send me an email if you want. Look me up on Facebook, whatever. Lots of good stuff. But I'd like to hear more. What do you like about the show? What don't you like? You want me to just shut up and give it up? I mean, that's fine. I won't. Not for a while anyway, but if you want to tell me to, feel free. I promise it won't hurt my feelings too much, just a little bit. As always, though, we've got more to talk about than we have time for, so we'll get right into it. I am going to get into the, let's see, it looks like we're on the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution today. Yep, Fourth Amendment. Get into that a little later. I don't want to lead off with that. That's one of the comments I heard, so that's what I'm going to do. But I heard today from the source of all truth. It's been a long day, I'm sorry. The source of all truth regarding the Obama administration, MSNBC. I heard today a congresswoman from Washington, D.C., I think she's in the U.S. House of Representatives, talking about Obamacare, because they had, like 1.1 million people sign up on Obamacare. Not necessarily enroll in plans, but sign up on Obamacare, put it in their cart, shop, whatever the hell they're doing. Nobody is even sure if their payments have made it to the insurance companies. You have to actually call the insurance company, make sure they got your payment. And if they didn't, you have to figure something out because they need their payment. And some of them are extending the payment deadlines through like the 10th or 15th of January, but the coverage is effective January 1st, so they're not getting paid for that first period, and generally that's just not how insurance works. But what do I know? Obama and his cronies know better than I do. This woman on MSNBC today, Eleanor Holmes Norton, talking about Obamacare, giving the reasons that she thinks, the reasons that we haven't had the numbers, because they're less than half of what they need to be enrolled by March to make this whole thing work. They're under what they need to have enrolled by the end of the year to make this whole thing work, but somehow it's going to work. And Eleanor Norton here seems to think it will work out just fine. And the reason it hasn't been working out just fine as of now, that's the crazy part. And I will get to that in just 1 second when we play her clip. I want you to pay close attention, because first she starts out talking about, well, the fine hasn't been implemented yet, so people aren't scared enough yet. Then she moves on to a real reason, which is blaming Republicans. Take a listen.
I'm joined now by D.C. Democratic Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton. Representative, good morning to you. We know things are better, right, looking at those numbers, but the goal, as has been said, it's 7 million people signed up by the end of March. Can that happen?
Oh, sure. Look what you saw. You saw double the number that had signed up, sign up on just the days before January 1st. We all do the same thing, last minute. And when that fine is going to kick in, you're going to see people trotting to sign on like you've never seen it before.
What tells you that might happen?
Let me tell you what tells me.
I'll tell you.
What we have been battling now is, first, every time the House couldn't think of anything else to do, it had a big debate on repealing Obamacare. So there are millions of people out there who think it was repealed. So there was no way to break through that very easily. Then comes this debacle of a website which seemed to confirm that it must have been repealed or it should have been repealed. Now, for the first time, after weathering the most negative propaganda campaign from within the Congress in history and the worst website.
All right. So, first of all, she's saying everybody in America, these millions of people, are procrastinating because it's not like we've had 5 years to ramp up to this. It's not like the entire Obama presidency has been getting everybody prepared to sign up for your government insurance. It's not like people know that Obamacare was passed into law. They're waiting for this fine to become a reality because they just really don't buy it. So when this fine hits close to home and they know it's coming, they will sign up. Now, the other thing, all of these darn Republicans in the House who had nothing better to do, anytime they were bored, they decided to try to repeal Obamacare. How about these Republicans ran on a platform of repealing Obamacare and they actually stood up for what they said they were going to do when they got elected to office. It's not like they were just bored and decided to do it. They told America that they would do everything they can to fix this problem, and that's what they were trying to do. It was for naught, of course, because we're still going forward, and not really for naught. But I mean, they didn't repeal Obamacare. The goal was not met. But it's not like they were just doing this willy-nilly because they were bored on some day. They were, sitting there on a Tuesday. Oh, what are we going to do today? I don't know. Let's try to repeal Obamacare. Oh, I'm bored. All right. No. They were doing what they went to office to do. The reason they were elected, in large, was to get rid of Obamacare, to fix this thing. And then she thinks that people are so stupid, millions, not just some of these stupid people out there, millions of stupid people, her constituents, stupid people that saw the debate in the House to get rid of Obamacare and thought it was repealed. Now, are you kidding me? She's talking about the same people that are watching MSNBC, watching ABC News, watching CBS. The news coverage on these stations saying there's no way Obamacare will ever be repealed because the Republicans are terrible. Obamacare will never be repealed. And she thinks that these same people that watch these news outlets are so stupid that they think Obamacare was repealed. There wasn't one person that I ever saw on the news say, well, it was repealed today. You have the liberals saying it'll never be repealed, and you have the Republicans saying it, conservatives, because there are very many liberal Republicans, and I don't want to fall into that trap. But you have the people on the right saying, we need to repeal this. It's not repealed yet, but we're going to keep trying. None of that would lead any sane person to think that Obamacare was repealed. And then she goes on to talk about it was repealed. People thought it was repealed. We couldn't fight against that because we're just too dumb to educate people that this law that is actually a law wasn't ever repealed. That the website was so bad. The website was so bad that it made people think even more that this law was repealed. They had an idea that it was repealed, but then the website, Obamacare, healthcare.gov, was so bad that it just drilled into their heads that this must have been repealed because nobody in their right mind would ever put a website out for the public consumption that is this terrible if the product wasn't already pulled off the shelves. There is no way that this bad of a website, and this is what she's saying, would be put out there if this law had not been repealed. Apparently people are stupid enough to think that they build a website, they repeal the law, and then they just leave the website out there and let it rot away. Eventually the website won't exist anymore. But in the meantime, it'll kind of work for some people. And the news every single night will be talking about the people that have signed up for Obamacare. But the law was repealed. That's what she thinks you are. These millions of people. She said millions of people thought this law was repealed. Are you kidding me? How I know the answer to this, but how did these people keep getting elected? This is something we need to change. 2014, we need to look at people like her, like what's her name here? Eleanor Holmes Norton, Democrat, D.C. We need to look for people like her. The Carl Levins of the world from Michigan in the Senate. The John McCains even. We need to look for these people. We need to get their butts out of office. Because this sort of arrogance, this sort of just... to think that her constituents are this stupid even if you agree with her ideology, why would you want somebody that thinks you're just so dense that with all of the news coverage, none of it saying this was repealed, she thinks you're so dense that you think it was repealed just because the website was bad? You want her representing you? I don't care which side of the aisle you're on. That's offensive. It just is. I mean, there's no other way to look at it. And I haven't seen her out trying to educate people, putting out public service announcements that Obamacare is not repealed. It's not repealed. It's actually in full effect right now. If you just go to healthcare.gov and sign up. And by the way, go ahead, I'll give it a plug. Hey, Obamacare, not repealed. I know most of you are probably part of the millions that thought it was repealed, because I'm sure she thinks that the Democrats aren't the stupid ones, that it's all the Republicans that are so stupid they thought it was repealed, because we don't know anything about how government functions. So I'm telling you right now, you may have thought it was repealed, but it wasn't. I'm going to take a quick break, though. Come back, Fourth Amendment, and the irony of a global warming expedition being stuck in ice cracked me up today. I want to share it. I will be right back. NathanNephew.com. Check out my book, MyParentsOpenCarry.com. Christmas is over, but, New Year's is coming in a couple days. Or Easter. Any time of birthday. MyParentsOpenCarry.com pro-gun kids book. I'll be right back.
When it comes to TV, if you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best value in entertainment. Not only will you find the same channels you know and love for less, Dish sweetens the deal with free HD for life and premium movie channels free for 3 months, including Blockbuster at home. You can also save a bundle when you combine DishNet high-speed internet with your TV service. Why would you ever pay more for TV? Switch to Dish and see what real value is. Free HD for life, premium channels free for 3 months, scores of movies with Blockbuster at home, premium savings when you bundle DishNet high-speed internet service. Limited time offer, 24-month agreement with credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing and other restrictions apply. Call for details.
Call Dish Satellite, your Dish authorized retailer now. 800-507-9468. 800-507-9468. 800-507-9468. That's 800-507-9468.
Red State Talk Radio is All American Talk Radio.
The Nathan Nephew Show. Somewhat unique.
Somewhat unique?
Yes, somewhat unique.
All right, welcome back. I'm, of course, Nathan Nephew. I want to jump into the Fourth Amendment here of the Constitution, Fourth Amendment of the Bill of Rights, however you want to call it. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Now, how many times, and I have to tell you, right before this show, you guys know Brian from At Odds, AtOddsShow.com. You can check that out. That's the other show I do, co-host with Brian, who co-wrote My Parents Open Carry with me, and we also co-founded Michigan Open Carry Inc. He's started sending me links to these news articles about open carriers in Michigan, and like I just mentioned, we co-founded Michigan Open Carry Inc., which is a Michigan nonprofit largely dedicated to promoting the right to openly carry a firearm in public. It's legal in Michigan. It's legal in a lot of states. Anyway, he's sending me videos of open carriers in Michigan being detained, being harassed by police officers who don't know the law, just assume they know what the law is, take it into their own hands, and physically assault, detain, seize property from. The one video, the police took the guy's firearm and wouldn't give it back to him, and tons of squad cars around. He's doing nothing. He's out there protesting with a sign, which the First Amendment, we went over that one. You can stand there with a sign on private property, no less. As far as I know, he was on private property. So it wasn't even like he was on the street or something, which makes it even a bit worse, but really you should have the same protections everywhere, at least from the police, from the government. So he got me fired up right before I decided, well, I was prepping for this show, and he's sending me these messages, and I told him, yeah, come on, I've had enough of this for a day. We had the story. If you want to look it up, I'm not going to get into it, but the open carrier in Grand Rapids, Michigan, filed a federal lawsuit, which is great. He was detained, put on the ground at gunpoint for carrying a firearm. The dispatcher told the caller, who was really scared, that it's legal. And the caller's like, well, he was wearing camo. Oh, all right. And he was talking or singing or something, which, of course, isn't unlawful. You can talk and sing if you want, I guess within the boundaries of noise ordinances, but I think he was okay there. So, anyway, whatever. Look it up. Grand Rapids, Michigan, open carrier. The Fourth Amendment, like the Second Amendment, is violated all the time. And some of the finer points in here that we don't think of. What we think is, people will be secure in their houses, papers affects things. You can't have stuff taken from you unless there's a warrant issued. Well, even that has restrictions. There has to be probable cause to get a warrant, so they better be pretty damn sure that something's going on that they need to search for, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched. So not just, Lansing, Michigan. No, your house, your bedroom. We think there's something in there. And persons or things to be seized. So it isn't we're going into your house and we're looking for contraband. No, it's we think you have cocaine. It's in your bedroom, in your house, whatever is probably good enough. And you, Joe Smo, are the person that we think has this. And this has to be in the warrant. It can't be, this house, we think there's drugs in there, we're going to go in and look. It has to be very specific. It's supposed to be very specific of the people involved, of the items that are involved. That's why, if you remember Adam Kokesh, Brian and I were talking about on at odds, he carried the gun into Washington, D.C. I thought it was a bad idea. It hasn't really worked out well for him or for gun rights in general, as far as I can see, but that's another story. We went over that on at odds. Look it up. The police went into his house, and they were walking around, and they somehow found some drugs. And Brian's point was, well, they were looking for a shotgun. The search warrant had to be very specific that they were looking for a shotgun. So unless the drugs were sitting on the counter between the door and the shotgun and they saw it passing by, they really didn't have a warrant sufficient to find the drugs if they had to search for the drugs. Assuming the shotgun was out in the open, which I believe it was. Those are the fine points to the Constitution that are overlooked. But they're so important. There was thought put into this. You need a warrant to search a place. Otherwise, you cannot, if you don't have a warrant, you cannot seize property from a person if you're a police officer. You cannot detain the person if you're a police officer without a warrant. And that warrant has to be very specific, saying it's you, George. And it's your eyeglasses that are in your pocket, George. That's what I'm going to take. I have this warrant. We need to be careful. And when you hear something that's like, well, that doesn't seem right, go to the Constitution, start there. And if it doesn't say anything about it, well, it's either a violation or there's a law that covers it, and then you have to tell if that law is constitutional. It's not complicated, but it's been made so complicated because of apathy, complete apathy by the people. Of just, whatever, we're fine, we're safe, we'll just let it go. It doesn't really matter what happens. It does matter, and it's time to wake up. I've been saying this for I don't know how long, years now. It's time to wake up. It's almost too late. We're getting close to the time where even if everybody woke up, that it may be too late, because what are we going to do when we're disarmed? And I need to be careful here because I get the people, oh, you want a violent revolution. No. But just having the ability to defend ourselves keeps us more secure in our freedom. Never having to use a firearm, we can still be more secure in our freedom just having the ability. Because criminals and government, they really prefer soft targets. It's easier to steal a purse from an old lady that's walking down the street oblivious to everything with no way to defend herself than it is a woman that's confident walking down the street looking around and armed with a revolver. If you have your choice and you know someone's carrying, which this is why I feel so strongly about open carrying a firearm. If you see a woman carrying a firearm and across the street is a woman that you know isn't or suspect isn't, which one would be easier to steal a purse from? Well, you're going to play the odds and you're going to go for the one that you don't see has a gun. It's the same thing with government. If they know we have the ability to fight back, they'll be less likely to keep taking things big chunks at a time. Now, the other side of that is the way it is now, our rights are being eroded so slowly that you almost don't notice. And that's just as dangerous, but that's easier to stop if you can just get people to listen. So I urge you, share this show, share At Odds, share Red State Talk Radio. Talk to your friends, talk to your neighbors, talk to your family, talk to everybody. For me, aside from the fact that it's so frustrating and I know that it's real, I enjoy talking about politics and enjoy talking about what's going on in the world. And you're here listening, you must enjoy it a bit too. I want to, real quick, I've got just a few minutes left. These scientists going to study global warming, they're going to find the ice that's melted. I don't know how they were going to find it, but there's some ice that they think is melted in, I think, Antarctic area. Yeah, Antarctic ice. They're on their way there, and wouldn't you know it, they got their ship stuck. Their ship, big giant ship. Oh, by the way, fueled by fossil fuels, the things that they think are causing the melting of the ice. They got stuck in ice. How ironic is that they're going to show everyone that the ice is gone because it melted, and they get stuck in ice. Not only did they get stuck in ice, but a big fossil-fueled ship comes to save them, can't get to them because there's so much ice, has to turn around. A while later, fossil-fueled ship comes to save them. It has to turn around because there's so much ice. A helicopter, fueled by what? Fossil fuels, has to come help them out. How ironic and fitting, by the way, like when we saw in Copenhagen, was it? When I don't remember which one it was, 2012 or something, the global warming summit, and they had the biggest snowstorm they've had in years. And the fact that we see ice is actually increasing in this area, evidenced by them getting their ship stuck in the ice. These sorts of little things where it's like, well, maybe I can't completely prove that there isn't some climate change going on, but I don't really see the evidence that there is man-made climate change. So it's like, just because you can't disprove it one way doesn't mean the opposite is true. And there's plenty of science on both sides. Whichever one you want to believe, go ahead. But I'm telling you, this is so fitting. And the captain on the ship is saying, well, we got stuck in ice, but believe me, the ice, this is old ice. See, this ice froze. It froze before the Earth warmed up, right? It's not like newly formed ice that's freezing right now. It's old, and so it trapped our ship because we didn't know the ice was here. We thought it was melting, but there's ice here. We're stuck. We could use some help. If you want to send us some oil, that'd be good. Maybe a big old icebreaker that runs on coal or something. That'd be cool because we're stuck and we really don't care about the environment right now. We just want to get out of here because it's cold. That's about all the time I have, though. NathanNephew.com, MyParentsOpenCarry.com. Look me up on Facebook. And, of course, stay tuned in right here to Red State Talk Radio. See you next week.